Holy crap, did I screw up. So if you guys have been following the channel for a while, you'll recognize this project. This is my 1978 Honda Z50 I got from a good buddy of mine, Troy's grandson-in-law. This thing has to have 1,000,000 miles on it. Not literally, but you know what I mean. And in the past episode, you watched Jason and I get this thing started up and running after sitting for I don't know how many years, and it smokes. It consumes oil really bad. So on today's episode, we're going to fix that. Let me show you what I got to fix that problem. What I've got here, this is an 88cc big bore kit from tbolt USA. Now, they are not a sponsor of the channel or anything. I paid my own hard-earned YouTube dollars for this product. But that being said, I can tell you one thing. This company is awesome to work with. I literally sent them an email, told them what I wanted to do, what the bike was. They responded back, I think within minutes, with a list of everything that I needed for this bike. 3 days later, it was sitting at my door. And I'll tell you what, anymore, a company that will actually communicate with the end buyer is, anymore, that's a lot to me. That means a lot to me. So what this kit comes with is a brand new 88mm big bore cylinder, obviously a piston, brand new high volume oil pump, and all the gaskets that you're gonna need to get the job done. So I didn't choose to go with like the higher stage big bore kit such as a cam and a carburetor and all that stuff because I want to keep this looking somewhat stock and being a little bit more stock. Just wanted a little bit more power and basically freshen up the motor to where it'll pack my, my right here, my food storage for the winter down the road and through the dirt a little better. Yeah, getting fat. It's all right. Anyhow, tbolt USA, they're awesome, highly recommend them. Let's get the motor pulled out of this thing, set it over on the bench, and we'll go tear it apart and see if we can put it back together. So the first thing on getting the motor out of this chassis is gonna remove seat, tank, exhaust, carburetor, and then foot pegs, motor mounts. Out we go. Get off of there! Gotcha. Come on. Get in there, you little bugger. Turns out that heat shield right there is bent just a little bit. So I can't get the box stand on it. Oh. Aha. No need. Huh. Well, I'll be darned. The exhaust is basically rusted solid into the head. That's interesting. Metal exhaust is stuck in an aluminum head. Might have to get the torch thingy out and warm that up just a wee bit to let it drop out. Fire. Hell and damnation, let there be fire. Come on, baby. Oh yeah. It's gonna do it. Got it. I guess it's probably a good idea if I drain the engine oil out of it. Well, what's left in it, I doubt there's even much left in it, as bad as this thing leaked and burned engine oil, but let's see what it's got. Work with me. Yeah, there wasn't any oil left in it. Well, that was easy. That goes to show you how bad this thing burned oil when you would twist the old go noodle or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it was burning oil pretty bad and leaking oil pretty bad, to give it some credit. So, okay, well, moving on. So anytime you're beating on the end of a bolt to push it through, use some brass punches so it doesn't, you know, the end of the threads up on the bolt. Save yourself a lot of headache. Brass punches, tip of the day, for now. Hi-ya! Ah, that one's actually gonna work, isn't it? Come on, little fella, you can do it. Ta-da! I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing, cleaned up as good as I can, because anytime you do, any engine work, you don't want debris and stuff falling inside the motor. So I'm gonna go ahead, scrub this thing up real nice, and we'll start tearing it down. All right, clean as it's gonna get. So that's very important when you're pulling these apart. Just take the time, make it clean. Like I said, you don't want any debris or debris down inside the motor. So now that's clean, let's get the old gun out and tear it apart, shall we? So a couple weeks ago, I mentioned that I was on a mission to find the best inexpensive tools for the trades, whether it's hand tools, power tools, or even workwear. So this is gonna kind of be the first of many, hopefully, reviews on tools. So that way, if something comes across here that you guys like, I'm gonna give you my 100% honest opinion on that tool. I have a ton of companies reaching out to me and wanting me to, push their product. And I always end up telling them, say, I'll do that as long as you're 100% okay with me being 100% honest about the product. And most of the time, they pretty much ghost me and I never see their product. But Pinup Boots, they just sent me a pair of boots, and what more important tool do you need if you work in the trades than comfortable footwear? I know I go through boots about every 6 months. I'm not easy on boots because I'm on my feet literally all day at work, and then I come home and I work in the evenings here in the garage, a lot of it off camera or on camera. So footwear is, it's pretty important to me. So that being said, let's check out these boots. So like I said, Pinup workwear. I'd never heard of them. And like I said, they reached out to me, told them as long as they were okay with me being honest about their boots. And they said, absolutely, we believe in our boot and our product. So they sent me a pair. So, first initial look at these things, they're not bad. They look like they're a quality boot. I don't know if I love the design of this particular boot as much as I thought I was going to. But they've got some pretty cool features on them, like the leather on them's pretty rugged, but they're soft, you know. It's got, I mean, hell, look at the traction on the bottom of them boots. Them things will pack mud through your wife's house, I guarantee it. But, you know, they're pretty pliable. They got a reinforced toe. I don't know if they're steel toed or what, but reinforced so you don't chop your toes off. And, you know, the cool thing of it is they're shock resistant, oil resistant, and slip resistance on the sole, and made out of genuine cow leather. So that's a plus. So I'm actually going to take and I'm going to wear these boots for the next couple weeks, and I'm going to do a second review on them, and I'm going to tell you what I think of them. But as of right now, they look like a quality boot. I mean, they come with two different sets of insoles, one thicker, one thinner, so you can kind of fine tune the adjustment or the fit per se. So I thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, like I said, I'm gonna wear these for a couple weeks and let you guys know what I think of the boots. It's kind of funny what you find on these old bikes and four-wheelers and stuff like this that are considered vintage, like myself. Yeah. While I was cleaning this thing off, I noticed that the cap for the timing chain tensioner it's just gone. It's not there. So this thing was about that far from the actual spring tensioner falling out of the bottom of this thing going down the road. Check this out. See that right there? Yeah, there's supposed to be a cap that holds that spring tensioner in for the timing chain. It gone. It's not there. So I'm gonna have to see if I can find one of those before we fire it up. I'm kind of hoping the Honda is true to form and they pretty much don't change stuff on their air-cooled stuff, because I actually happen to have a later model Honda 50 motor kicking out in the garage or out in the container, so hopefully that one has one on it. If not, I might have to improvise and go see if I can find a 1415 oil drain plug and hollow out the end of it and make that work to get us by till I get the proper one. But that being said, I know I've said it before, let's get this thing tore apart. Oh yeah, perfect. Oh yeah, that thing's it's wore out. Yeah, there's definitely no question that was the right decision. This thing has zero cross hatching in the cylinder. I knew it wasn't making a whole lot of compression, and yeah, the oil ring and stuff like on the piston it's wore out. It's got a ton of time on it. I mean, can't really blame it. 46-year-old-ish, you know, motor. I don't think this thing's ever been into, so it's done its time. So the next step on this project is going to be installing the high volume oil pump on this thing. So I'm going to go ahead, get the piston pulled off of the rod so it's just out of the way, and then go ahead and pull the right hand crankcase off of it to access the oil pump. So let's get after it. She just wore out. Pretty amazing these things will even run even when they're wore out like that. Pretty awesome. I've always said it's hard to kill an air-cooled four-stroke Honda. That right there is proof. Still running. Burning oil, but still running. Let's see if this case will wiggle off of here. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Oh, something's happening. Ta-da! There you have it. Gotta pull the clutch out to get that out, don't I? Well, I'll be dipped. Okay. Actually cleaner than I thought it was gonna be inside. So that's a plus, I guess. I hope I don't regret not buying a rebuild kit for the clutch. Regret not buying a rebuild kit for the clutch. I'm probably going to. That's alright. I don't know if this goober's coming out of the clutches or out of the basket, if that's just dirt or if those are old clutch fibers. I don't know. Yeah, look right down in there. See that? Big old chunk of nastiness. Yeah, I don't know what that is. I'm not gonna taste it to find out. Here's the new oil pump that came with the kit, and also with the kit you can buy a 2mm drill bit. So once you have the old oil pump out, you need to drill the passage from the oil pump up to the head and the cylinder and all that stuff up to a bigger hole size. I believe it goes from 1mm to 2mm, so not much, but just a wee bit. But this thing, it's pretty nice, you know, fancy, if you will. All right, get out of there. Comes with a new drive, like so, and actual oil pump itself. So, guess I should have looked through the package before I decided to change this. So it looks to me like I do need to pull the other side of the case off and remove the nut from the drive gear on the other side, pull this out and, you know, change it. So let's do that first, shall we? I think we should. If I lift the timing chain up here and you look down inside of there, there's this drive sprocket right there that shaft goes through the motor this way, and I'm guessing it actually bolts on right here behind the flywheel. So I'm gonna have to go ahead, get my flywheel puller out, pop the flywheel off, pull that nut off of the shaft and that gear, pull the oil pump and slide everything out like so, and take the new and go boop, actually this way in like so. And then we can install the new high volume oil pump. This is fairly involved, but not too bad. I've never done this before, so we're learning together. How about that? Pretty much expected there to be a fastener on the end of this gear holding that shaft on, but there's obviously not. That's okay, because I needed to pull that ignition out to change that crankshaft seal anyhow, and it comes with the kit, so really not out anything. So it was a good move, I guess. And it gives me kind of an idea how the idler chain tensioner works for the drive system on the cam, but you know, we're learning. Like I said, we're learning as we go, and we're gonna learn together. So I'm gonna flip it over and pull the pump off of it. Kind of a cool little motor how they're all set up. Pretty simple, kind of neat. So the next step on this is we got to drill out the passage, like I said, from 1mm to 2mm. And what we got to drill out is that right there. So I'm going to go ahead and spin this head stud out of it. It's already pretty much loose. Go ahead and spin that out, and we'll tape off a lot of the places, you know, where we don't want excess shavings and whatnot, and plunk a hole bigger in that thing, and we can reassemble this thing. Sweet. Okay, flush that out with some tss. We'll go back together. went ahead and got the motor pretty much put back together minus the top end. And now it's time for the fun stuff, you know, why we're here, basically. Check this out. Oh yeah. Look at this jug. This thing. Look at the size of that thing. Here, let's do a little side-by-side comparison, right? So, that's the stock cylinder. That's the new one. Yeah, I think this thing's gonna run substantially better. Pretty excited. So, per their instructions, they want you to dry fit this thing before you put any gaskets or, you know, the piston on the rod or anything like that, because they're saying that this is so much bigger that there's a slight chance you might have to basically just scuff up the inside of the cases for this to seat down in. So I'm gonna reach over here and just try to wiggle that old girl back down in there, and hopefully we don't have to do any scraping or anything. So let's see how it fits, shall we? Oh yeah. Yeah. Not even close. Oh wow. Yeah. We're gonna have to do some clearancing. A lot of clearancing. Shoot. I can see now why they kind of recommend that you do this with the motor completely disassembled and the cases put together. Yeah, this is gonna be tricky, keeping all the grinding debris out of the bottom end. Stuff some rags down in it. I'm sure it'll be fine. Well, I've pretty much got this thing all taped up. So the way I'm gonna do this is I'm gonna hit it with this carbide bit, and I'm gonna turn the vacuum on as I'm, you know, removing material. I'm gonna try to capture most of the material through the vacuum and not down inside the crankcase. So let's see what we can do. Well, let's see if it fits. So far, so good. Oh yeah. I'll be darned. Cool. So the way I had to clearance those cases is kind of pretty much against everything, you know, that I'm about. Man, it was hard getting down in there and clearancing those cases and not getting metal shavings down in it. And I'm sure there's a little bit of metal shavings or aluminum shavings, I should say, that got down inside of there, but I don't see any other way of doing it other than tearing the whole motor apart and then clearancing the cases, which I'm sure that's what they want you to do, but I don't know. It didn't say anything about that. It just said you might have to cut the gasket a little bit, but no. I had to trim quite a bit out of the cases itself to get the cylinder to go down in, but that's all right. We'll start this thing up, kind of build a little bit of heat in it, and we'll change the oil out several times because we got to do a break-in on the motor anyway, so shouldn't be too big of a deal. So next step is to put the cylinder and head studs back in this thing and start stacking parts, you know, piston, cylinder, head, timing chain. So as soon as I get this thing put back together, we'll slap in the bite, see if it'll make fire. Getting excited. Just a little dabble, do you? You don't need a ton. Just a wee little bit. You know, keep it from seizing. We don't want metal on metal crime here. Just a little bit. Make it happy. There's the first ring. There's the second ring. Now we just got to get the oil rings in, and we're there, man. Something's happening. Oh. Here we go. There we go. Well, she's all put together. Looks pretty good. I kind of like it. Still got the old, you know, time on it, you know, from 1978. Like the side covers are scratched up and the head's a little, you know, not brand new, which kind of what I'm going after, but looks good. Now, the only thing I have left to do is, if you remember right, on the bottom, timing chain tensioner bolt or cover is gone. And so I don't have one of those. And I've got one on order, but for the time being, what I'm going to take is a 1415 engine oil drain plug. And I'm going to go over in my lathe and trim off the excess here, and then drill a hole down the center of it and cut the outside ring down just a little bit to make that work just for a cover for now, so we can go start this thing and run it. So I'm going to go over to the lathe, cut this down, do all the things I just said to it, and see if we can make it fit. I think we can. It's kind of quick and dirty, but all it's got to do is just keep the adjuster from falling out, so not a big deal. Screw that thing in. I'm going to slap this motor in this bike. We're going to take her for a rip. Good morning there, guys. So last night I spent a little bit of time bolting the motor in and everything put back together. Holy crap, did I screw up. I forgot to order a new air filter, and this thing is just literally just falling apart as I washed it to clean it. And I really don't want all this foam and all the garbage going through that brand new motor. So yeah, I'm not going to be running this thing down the road today because the wind outside is blowing at about 25, 30 miles an hour. And I don't want to fill this new motor full of dust by not running an air filter. I hunted and hunted for like a pod filter, thought I maybe have one, but I can't find one that'll fit this thing. So just going to have to wait to do that. So I'm going to see if I can get this thing started on the bench and basically do the heat cycles on the cylinder to seat the rings and the piston and, you know, all that good stuff so the motor will last. Problem number 2, this bike now has so much more compression that when you kick it over, the way this motor works is it spins the clutch, which spins the crank, which spins the motor over. Yeah. Clutch is slipping. I knew better. I should have ordered new clutch stuff and rebuild it while I was in there, but again, wasn't thinking. My bad. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to let this thing down on the table, fill the old gas tank full of petrol, and see if I can get it to catch long enough to make fire in this little bugger. Fingers crossed. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. Clutch is slipping pretty bad. Dang it! If I kick it kind of slow, I'm gonna try to catch, but I don't know if it's fast enough to fire. Hey, oh crap. Lou, are you helping? You're making an awful lot of noise with your ball. He gets excited when I go to start stuff. He just starts chasing his ball all over the place. Don't you? Funny dog. Let me do some adjusting, see what happens. Oh, she's gonna go, I think. Oh, there's a little life in her. This thing's awkward to start because it's so small. Oh, did you hear that? He's trying. Yes! He's running. Burn off a little oil inside of it. Woo! I better open the garage door up. I didn't know if it was gonna go or not. Definitely burning a little bit of assembly oil off the top of the cylinder, but that's all right. Heck, she sounds good. I'm happy with that. We'll do a heat cycle on this thing real quick. Oh, listen to it idle. That thing sounds awesome. Man, I'm glad I stuck with kicking that thing around for a minute. That's great. I'm gonna do a heat cycle on this thing and then we'll check for oil leaks and what have you. Definitely got some assembly oil inside of it. That's great. So I'm super happy with how this big bore kit has turned out. Obviously the T-bolt kit I'm super impressed with it. I had everything I needed to put this kit together, and it was fairly simple and fairly straightforward. I have no bad things to say about T-bolt, the company, and their products thus far. And you guys know me, if I find something I don't like, I'm not gonna tell you it's great. I'm gonna tell you the truth and my opinion on it. So that being said, got one heat cycle down, got 3 more to go, and that's just what I always do, is I do 4 heat cycles on every motor I ever build, and I've had really good luck with them. Now obviously I can't go ride it today because I don't have an air filter like I said earlier, and you can probably hear the wind behind me. It's blowing and rattling. It's terrible. It's not good outside, and I'm not gonna put all that through this new motor. So I'm gonna get online and I'm gonna get me a clutch pack, clutch rebuild kit rather, and a new air filter of some sort, and see if I can find the stock one. But this is where I need your guys' help. I need this factory side cover right here. I'm having a hard time finding one, and if you guys know of a place to find those factory side covers, put it down in the comments, or even better, if you have one, email me, and I'll put my email right here, and email me, and I'd be more than happy to buy that side panel from you. So as always, I appreciate every single one of you guys tuning in and watching, and you'll see more of this thing here really quick. So thanks again. See you soon. Gosh darn it, Lou. Why did I do that?